Welcome back. We're on day 4 of walking the Hexatetraglyph. If you haven't watched the first episode or two, I recommend that you go back and take a look at those. The first couple videos of this series will help cover some of the basics, help you understand what we're doing. We're working with astrology, the tarot, and the I Ching to travel across this little oracle board that I built. It lays out the I Ching in a very unique pattern and turns it into something like a labyrinth or a decision tree, where the way you travel across it creates a hexagram out of the I Ching. So the tarot has its own voice. The planets and the signs have their own way of speaking to you, and ultimately the I Ching gets the final word on the journey. So it respects all three traditions and lets them all kind of play together nicely. Yesterday we worked with the Sun and Leo. The Sun and Leo are a big challenge for me. I watched a movie last night on Hulu. It's called A Man Called Otto, starring Tom Hanks. And he has a big heart. Literally, like, his heart is physically too big, but he's also extremely caring. He's like the grumpy old man with a big heart. Think of Scrooge or the Grinch. He's just been through a lot of pain. And I was trying to understand, what is Leo all about? What is this boldness about? And then I came across that show, watched it, and it was the big heart that really made sense to me. And that's partially because the sequence of cards that I was dealing with yesterday. There's the pain, there's the difficulties, and the lesson is to love with that big heart, the lion heart. So Leo's been a big deal so far in this process. Each day we draw 2 planetary tokens and we decide which one we want to work with. On day 1 we put Jupiter on the board here. It's in the center position. It's our tiebreaker. But today we're going to draw 2 new tokens. And once again we got the Sun. The Sun is still in Leo, so it's going to go in our Yang position, the upper part of pathway 1 on the D tile, or the position D. And Mercury is our second token here that I drew. That's going to go on the lower D here, the lower position D. That's kind of an interesting thing about this setup or this board, is it sometimes puts things in a position that you wouldn't expect them to be. Like Leo is taking a yin position here. But it's Leo versus Leo. Sun versus Mercury. So with that, we are going to take out this book we've been working with. Leo really just has a message for me, right? And I guess for you, if you're following along as well. Let's take a look at Leo. Let's just, let's start there. Cover that real quickly. Today I want to do a spread, a tarot spread. Let's do like past, present, future when we pull the tarot cards and kind of see how that goes. I've been thinking about that today, and I think that would be worth experimenting with. Warm, bright, and charismatic. Leo is a regal sign. Full of fun, it's a positive fixed fire, extroverted, steadfast, visionary, dignity, self-confidence, sense of style, generous. There's that big heart, motivating. All right, so that's just a tiny bit about Leo. Let's go to Mercury. There we go, Mercury. Language, communication, learning, ideas, exchange, thoughts, mind. Communication, I think, is something that I really want to focus on here. I guess it's time for us to get our journals out and come up with a question. We know we have Mercury in Leo. All right, so let's take a minute, open our journals, and come up with a topic, a question, a theme for today. Okay, with that, it's time to draw our cards. And in this case, we're going to put them in an order. Past, present, future. Now, I'm going to share just a little bit about myself. There was a time in my life I was great with public speaking. I was fine with it. I just looked at it like any other job that you do. You prep yourself, you practice, you go out and you execute. Why overthink it? I may not be the most social person in the world. I may not be very extroverted, but I can write something down, memorize it, practice it, get used to it, and get up and speak in front of people. Just don't psych yourself out. That was kind of my stoic attitude with public speaking. And as a leader in the military, I was fine with that, and I did it basically every day. And then one day I was in this big staff meeting, and everyone was taking a turn at presenting something. We were giving our briefings, and there was a lot of people in this room listening, and I wasn't prepared. I got thrown into this last minute. My boss handed me a bunch of documents and said, "Can you go brief these, like right now?" And I was familiar with what this inspection was about and what I needed to talk about, but I hadn't rehearsed it at all. I hadn't even hardly read over any of the documents. And next thing you know, I had a room full of people listening in a PowerPoint that was about to be presented. And the guy that presented in front of me, he had a panic attack. And I listened to him have a panic attack. He went before me, and it just somehow transferred to me. And I started to have one. I'd never had a panic attack before, really. My heart started beating really fast. I couldn't breathe. I was like, what is this? I felt like I was having a heart attack or something. And then I realized, oh, this is why people don't like public speaking. And I tried to speak, and I just stuttered. And I tried to speak again, and nothing was coming out. My lungs just weren't functioning, and I was just like, what do I do? And of course, the mind-body connection, it was terrible. I did get through it. I figured it out. I got a hold of myself, and I know people could see I was having a rough time. But once I got a few words to flow, then I was good. I was all right. But ever since that happened, I have hated it. I've hated public speaking to the point where I don't like speaking on the phone. So my question is about that situation, and I want to, that's what I have in mind, and I want to understand mentally, what is the arc here? What is the story? And with that, I'm hoping the cards will give me some insights, and we can illuminate this together. All right, so card 1, the 3 of Cups. Card 2, Death. And card 3 is the King of Pentacles. All right, so I'm going to put some keywords up. Remember, yesterday we pulled the Tower card for our second card, and today's Death for our second card, our middle card. So that's kind of an amazing little synchronicity and a story in and of itself. The collapse, the decay, right in the central part. And in this case, for me, death is in my present moment. And I hope is what we're getting at here is we're creating compost. We're preparing for some new growth. The King of Pentacles, I would say, is a potential for mastering the body. How I was explaining that my anxiety is so body-based and has been for a long time. And I won't get into all of my stories about how I started developing a lot of anxiety and why that resides in my body. But we'll just leave it as being able to master that would be nice. The 3 of Cups is, it's a picture of people enjoying being in the presence with one another and being able to share with one another, especially their emotions. I think of it as a party. People are together, they're communicating, they're enjoying themselves. You know, it's not just Mercury, it's Dionysus. And maybe I did used to rely on alcohol to help me speak. And I've no longer really been interested in that. I would like to be able to naturally deal with the situation. So already I'm starting to feel into this. And it's very interesting. I hope that it's doing the same for you. I hope you're starting to get some insights. I would love to hear back with what your topics have been thus far. Are you getting some value out of the cards that you're drawing? Once again, we have a yin selection here. So these 3 cards will be placed in the bottom left-hand corner. That's our second time we've had a yin selection. So we've had 2 yang selections and 2 yin. So we're tied up. Tomorrow we'll move to position E. Day after tomorrow, F. And then we'll be at G. And we will, at that point, be heading on to our second pathway. So I'm looking forward to that. Thanks for joining me. If you have any questions, comments, please leave them here. I would love to have some conversation. I appreciate you being here, and we'll talk to you tomorrow.